An announcement. Can everyone mute themselves? An announcement before we all begin the webinar. So you will have questions arising in your mind when the speaker will talk on the subject. You will put your questions on chat, which will be picked up by our project coordinators, Kini, Hardeep, and Prakruti. I will put your questions to the speaker. Please remember, all will be muted at all times except speakers. Chat will be our mode of communication. Remember, your participation will up the standard of awareness that we will spread after hearing the learned speaker. So now, on behalf of Association of Innerwheel Clubs in India, that is the national body of Innerwheel, this is a webinar specially to create awareness on recent changes in approach to being healthy. It is created specially for women, addressing reproductive and gynecological problems. Till now, these subjects were mostly dealt in closed doors offices of doctors. But now we wish to be aware, discuss the problems, learn from others, prevent problems rather than waiting and panicking when they occur. The subject is divided into 2 continuous sessions. Session 1 is on trending changes in approach to fertility vis-a-vis social changes. And second session is on shift of vision in preventive reproductive health. According to time, Dr. Anahita will take up the subjects. The special subject today on prevention will be cervical cancer vaccine. So now I request Association President Preeti Ji to declare open the seminar.
Thank you so much, Pallavi Ji. And I take the privilege of making our National Medical Awareness webinar declared open. Thank you.
Thank you, President. As per our tradition, let us begin with a prayer to Almighty. Invocation by Project Coordinator Prakruti Vasani.
Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabhu Nirvighnam Kuru me Devam Sarvakari Sarvada Astoma Sadgamaya Tamsorma Jyotirgamaya Mrityuma Amritam Gamaya.
Thank you, Prakruti. I request all to stand for Innerwheel prayer. You may change the angle of your camera if you wish to. Hardeep, Project Coordinator Hardeep will say the prayer.
Instill in us, O Lord, the true meaning of friendship. Never let us forget that we are all thy children. Notwithstanding the differences in our cultures and creed, endow us with a desire to serve our fellow men, remembering that we too often need help whenever or wherever the need for service arises. Help us to be ready to serve, endeavoring to make our badge of inner wheel worthwhile, ensuring that we have not lived in vain. Thank you.
Friends, we live in times when mere absence of disease is not taken as wellness. We take a holistic approach to health. Health encompasses physical, mental, psychological, social well-being, and more. We just experienced tsunami of changes in health during COVID times. Not only mortality, morbidity, that is effect on physical health was seen. Mental health took a dip. The age of involvement of diseases changed. Also, profile of many diseases changed. We in Innerville realized that it is time we create awareness in Innerville members about certain silent killer diseases and the diseases which showed a spike during COVID times. So last year, we started this series on medical awareness with Association President and District Chairman then, Surjit Ji and Meeta. This year, with Association President and District Chairman Preeti Ji and Pallavi, we have decided to take up diseases related to women. More often, they are taboo subjects and are not discussed openly, even amongst the elite. So now, before we go further, let us have some Innerville formalities. Friends, District 314 has many talented members in diverse fields. To keep them together and bring out the best from each of them is a super task for the leader. District Chairman Pallavi Choksi is one such leader who hails from a family of freedom fighters and Padma Shri awardees of Free India. Pallavi has shown her mettle as president of her Innerville Club of Bombay Airport. She started Maitreyi exhibition, which has been a milestone and an ongoing fundraiser for her club. I attend Maitreyi almost every year, and it is good. In her club, with her innovative ideas, she has always inspired fundraisers. In districts, every post she has taken, she has given interesting guidelines to add creativity to the work of corresponding club office bearers. Significant was Suno, Pado, or Sikho through storytelling that she gave as vice chairman. No wonder she was hailed as the centenary chairman to usher in 100 years of formation of Innerville. By the way, she's a basketball player since school days. As district chairman, her game is still on and continues to dunk the ball in the net. It is only 3 months of her leadership and we are counting the goal points. So now I invite District Chairman Pallavi to welcome the August gathering, talk about our district a little, and introduce our presiding officer of the day, Association President Preeti.
Namaste and good evening, friends. On behalf of the host district 314, it is my proud privilege to welcome our dynamic leader, Association President and National Representative Preeti Gugnani. And I don't know if some of the international Innerville dignitaries are present. Welcome to this webinar. International Innerville editor and MM Prabha Raghunandanji, Association Executive Committee members, Association Vice President Sunita Jain, Immediate Association Past President Dr. Surjit Kaur, Honorary Association Secretary Vinuta Harish, Honorary Association Treasurer Shashi Shukla, National Editor Sonal Bansal, Association CCC Alagu Anamalai, Keynote Speaker Dr. Anaita Chauhan, Project Chairman IIW Past President Dr. Pallavi Shah, my 26 co-district chairmen and their teams, District 314 Executive Committee members, past association presidents, past district chairmen from all districts, club presidents, webinar project coordinators Kini, Hardeep and Prakriti, Inner Wheel members, friends and guests from all over India. Welcome to today's medical seminar. Thank you all for your gracious presence. As we celebrate Inner Wheel Centenary Year 2023-24, another century of hope has begun. At Inner Wheel District 314, we are celebrating the year as Panchamrit, the divine nectar of 5 elements, Seva, Sanskriti, Siksha, Suraksha, and Samarpan, in sync with the national goals of Trailblazer and IIW theme, Shine a Light. A vibrant district of 82 clubs and more than 3,500 enthusiastic, committed members who are engaged in many worthy projects with the figure of 100 in different areas of need under the district project Purna Yagna at the rate 100 to brighten the lives of thousands of needy and the deprived. At the district level, we are constructing a rural school and the Centenary Inner Wheel School, a secondary school for 500 students. We are already planted a Centenary Inner Wheel forest and orchard. To harvest and conserve millions of gallons of water, we have constructed a check dam at Panvel. We are also creating a biodiversity butterfly nectar garden as they play a crucial role in supporting local ecosystems and are essential for balancing the life cycles of various species and promoting environmental sustainability. As the urban medical project, we are refurbishing the gynecology department in a hospital in Navi Mumbai. It is a significant endeavor to provide affordable medical facilities for women and families in need of medical care. Inner Wheel District's 314's dedication to a wide range of projects from education, environmental conservation to healthcare showcases a holistic approach to community service. We have already completed projects of more than 3 crores with lakhs of beneficiaries. These initiatives are making a meaningful and profound difference in the lives of people, the environment, and they exemplify the spirit of philanthropy and social responsibility. Thank you. Now, friends, it is my privilege to introduce our dynamic association president and national representative, Preeti Gugnani. She is an inspiring leader who has dedicated herself to education and community service. Born in Delhi in a philanthropic family, she graduated from the Lady Irwin College for Women. She is blessed with daughter Ishita and son-in-law Shaurya. In 1999, she joined Inner Wheel. She strongly believes in the transformative power of education. She has taken up the initiative to educate children in 2,000 villages, reflecting her commitment to spreading knowledge and empowerment. As a principal of the Scholars Rosary School in Rohtak, she plays a crucial role in shaping the future of the students under her care. She has received several awards and recognitions for her outstanding contributions. The list is very extensive. However, some of the honors are the Elite Women Award, Tejaswini Award, Best Woman Entrepreneur Award, and also recognized as one of the top 10 revolutionary educationists in Haryana, and many more awards have been bestowed on her. Her centenary year vision is particularly ambitious and noble, aiming to see India achieve 100% literacy. To achieve this goal, she has taken up IILM, Innerwheel India Literacy Mission, and the Girl Power Initiative. She is also focused on environmental sustainability by pledging to make Innerwheel more environment friendly through digitalization and introducing the association app, thus minimizing paper usage. Preeti Gugnani has completed 2 national projects, such as providing 1,000 bicycles to 1,000 girls, a golden world record, and 1,000 tablets to 1,000 students. Truly commendable. Under her leadership, both the Odysseys Northwest Multi-District Rally and Southeast Multi-District Rally were grand successes. Preeti ji's achievements and accomplishments are admirable, and she is making a significant impact in the lives of many. Presenting to you our dynamic leader, Preeti Gugnani.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Thank you for a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti ji. And now,
My pleasure.
now that our esteemed speaker, Dr. Anahita, and new participants have a bird's eye view of the activities in Innerwheel, and all Innerwheel and guests are introduced to Association President, we turn to the main topic of the day, medical awareness. We are privileged to have the sitting president of Mumbai Obstetric and Gynecology Society as a speaker. The subject of the first session is trending changes in fertility vis-a-vis the changes in the society. The second session to follow will be trending changes in preventive reproductive health. To introduce this illustrious speaker, we have project coordinator, past president Kinney Kaur. Kinney.
Right from the first checkup, she was vigilant about every small thing. She explained all my queries with great patience. With her experience and expertise, she made normal delivery possible despite my short stature, and I got a healthy baby. This was the review of one patient. Another one wrote, very professional, attentive, and kind doctor. Would recommend her to anyone. This is our speaker today, Dr. Anahita Chauhan, President of OB&GY Society, Mumbai, an obstetrician and gynecologist with 38 plus years of experience. Her areas of expertise include hysteroscopy, adenomyosis, menopause, ovarian cysts, and menorrhagia. Today, she is honorary consultant at SAIFI and St. Elizabeth Hospitals. She is former professor and unit head, Seth GS Medical College and KEM Hospital. She is president, Mumbai Obstetric and Gynec Society. She is the first joint editor, Journal of Obstetrics and Gynec of India. She has published several papers in India and abroad and is a member of prestigious medical associations. Dr. Anahita believes in promoting health awareness and following a healthy lifestyle. Her personal statement is, I am dedicated to providing optimal healthcare in a relaxed environment where I treat every patient as if they were my own family. Presenting our eminent speaker, Dr. Anahita Chauhan.
Thank you, and give me a moment to share my screen, please. Thank you for the kind introduction. Is this visible?
Not yet,
No?
not yet.
All right, just give me a minute. Is this visible now?
Yes, now it is.
Perfect. So before starting, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Pallavi, who has really pursued, and I have actually troubled her a lot to finalize the topics for today. But I think Pallavi was very insistent that we should take these topics. And so I'm going to present the first topic, which is trending changes in fertility. And there has been a lot in this topic which we can speak about. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible so that you can all ask questions. I am not a reproductive endocrinologist, nor am I an infertility super specialist. But of course, 1/4 of our patients today do come with infertility. So basically what I'm going to do is explain in simple terms the fertility and reproduction and what the changes are today, what couples can do to prepare themselves for a good pregnancy, look at some of the newer treatments, like all the treatments which come under ART or assisted reproductive technologies, and then look at special situations like social egg freezing or freezing of eggs or ova or embryos for cancer survivors, and also the burning question of same-sex couples as well. So very often when we ask patients about infertility, they believe that it's very uncommon. It's mainly a female issue. The treatment cost is in thousands and lakhs of rupees. And most couples, they believe, will conceive in 1 to 3 months of trying, or you know how they show in the Hindi movies, ek barish ki raat mein sab ho gaya. And they also believe that same-sex couples can't have children. But all of these statements are false. All of these are actually myths, and we should actually understand that infertility is common. It affects almost 15% of all couples, and it is a couple issue. So it's not fair to say that the female is to blame or the male is to blame. Female causes of infertility account for about 45% of the total. Male causes account for 40%, and the combined, do haath se tali bajti hai, accounts for almost 15% of the causes. Infertility treatments by and large are simple, and only if you proceed for IVF, the cost does go into a lakh or two. But understand that most couples don't need IVF or other special treatments. And on an average, 90% will conceive within 1 year of unprotected sex. Same-sex couples also have many good options, which we'll see at the end. So what is changed today? There's no doubt that the education in women has gone up. They are more focused on their own independence and their careers. They are not getting married early. They are not listening to the elders in the family because they believe it's their life. So many women feel it's my life, let me live it my way, let me earn, let me get somewhere in my career, and then I'll think of marriage and children. Even then, most couples are getting married in the late 20s or early 30s. And we see that the need for a child or the need for children is really not universal. So most couples either say that they want one child or they don't want a child, they'd rather just adopt a dog. And if that continues, I don't think I'll be in business anymore. So the other factors also are divorce, which is now higher. So there may be a first marriage through which she did not produce a child, and she comes in a second marriage now wanting a child. And of course, in urban areas like Bombay, the tight spaces, the lack of privacy, the lack of space, all play a factor. In our days, or I should say the days past, we would get pregnant and then figure out everything. But today, the younger generation wants everything to be in place before they plan a pregnancy. In a way, that's wonderful because they really do want that child and they work towards getting the child. So I'm now going to just explain in very simple terms what reproduction is, though I'm sure most of you know it or at least know the basics of it, and then look at the newer techniques and options. So I'll just play this video. And of course, the video is not playing. So anyway, I will just explain that it is not the uterus, which you see here, which is important, but it is the ovary which controls the uterus. The ovary produces one egg every month. That egg goes into the fallopian tube and makes its way here. If at that time there is sex or there is sperm deposition here, the sperm travels into the tube, the egg and the sperm meet, and the fertilized egg comes and starts growing in the uterus. So in fact, the human race is so wonderfully designed that women have the potential to conceive every month. This is unlike any other race, any other species who only can produce once in a year or twice in a year. But this is so that the human race continues, that it has the potential. So when the egg comes out of the ovary and does not meet any sperm, it comes out at the time of menstruation as the menstrual waste. And we in fact say that the menstruation is the tears of the uterus because the patient did not get pregnant. Understand that when you were in your mother's womb, you had the maximum number of eggs. In fact, you had close to 1 million eggs when you were a fetus in your mother's womb. By the time you are born, that million number has come down to lakhs, around 295 lakh at birth. By the time you start menstruating, the number is in the hundreds or the thousands. So your eggs are extremely precious. And by yours, I mean the female egg is extremely precious. Whenever fertilization has to take place, it takes place in distinct phases, and the fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube and the zygote is formed. The zygote is actually the combination of the sperm and the egg. And then the 8th stage of the morula is formed. And I'm emphasizing this because this is where IVF does come in, which you'll see a little later. So the zygote actually is a brilliant cell, and it contains 23 chromosomes from the mother and 23 from the father, which makes it 46. And this zygote phase hardly lasts for 3 to 4 days, and then the single egg starts splitting. So this is a very, very magnified view of the large egg and the millions of tiny sperm which fight for one egg. Of course, all this is controlled by the brain. So by the higher centers, the brain, parts in the brain, they release the pre-hormones, which then release hormones, which then act on the ovary and the uterus. So, should couples worry when they are trying to get pregnant and they don't conceive? What should they do? So, first of all, they should plan ahead. It's ridiculous to say, I don't want a child in December because there is a wedding in the family. Or I don't have a big enough house, so I'll wait for a year or two to get that house. It's important for couples to understand that they can try to correct situations or things that are not ideal, but the trying time does take at least 6 months to 1 year for them to attempt and get pregnant. At this time, of course, the man can continue to drink or smoke or vape, or even I see a lot of couples where they are doing drugs, but this will affect the male performance. Women, on the other hand, should try to begin a good diet, exercise, and decrease their stress, because otherwise, every time they have sex with the husband, they think, oh, am I going to get pregnant today? And there is more to life than pregnancy. There is more to marriage than just producing a child. So the more stressed they are, in fact, it does not help them. So we should emphasize that in today's day and age, when you're so busy, when the couple is so busy, you don't spend enough time in the bedroom with each other. And that's the first thing you should be doing. So obviously, she should eat healthy, she should exercise regularly, and obviously the bad habits should be cut out. So cut out alcohol, cut out smoking, cut out vaping. Many women are also concerned about drugs that they may be taking. For example, a lot of beauty conscious women are using retinoic acid for their skin. They should avoid retinoic acid. They should, if they are having some mental illness or depression, they should avoid certain drugs. All these they can talk to the doctor and plan at least 3 months ahead. Very briefly, I'm just going to list the causes of male infertility, because I said 40% of causes are the male factor. So azoospermia means they do not produce sperm. Now, the sperm is only one part of the entire fluid that males ejaculate. But if they do not produce sperm, they have azoospermia. Or sometimes they may have undergone a surgical sterilization procedure like a vasectomy, so they don't produce sperms. And sometimes they produce sperm, but the sperm are not of good quality, so they may not be swimming as well, or they may have some problems in the head or the tail of the sperm. So azoospermia can be corrected with injections of hormones. The surgical sterilization can be reversed by opening that sterilization, and the impaired motility can be repaired if the patient has a varicocele. And of course, there are many new nutraceuticals which men can take to improve their sperm quality. Sometimes males also suffer from premature ejaculation, so they get excited so quickly that they ejaculate the sperm even before they enter the woman. So there are treatments even for this. So males should be asked a proper questioning before we start on the female treatments. The main causes, there are a lot of causes of female infertility, but just to go a bit quickly on this, as I said, the ovary is all powerful. So ovulation disorders form the main problem. Second is tubal abnormalities, especially in our country where tuberculosis is still a factor. There are known cases where the tubes are damaged because of tuberculosis, and endometriosis, where the inner lining of the uterus, instead of being passed out during the period, goes into the body cavities. So the treatment of ovulation disorders, and in this, most of you must be having either daughters, daughters-in-law, granddaughters, or close family members who have PCOS, and PCOS is one of the commonest causes of disorders. PCOS is a disciplinary management where diet, exercise, metformin, control of sugars, etc. will go a long way in correcting these disorders. Basically, in PCOS, it's polycystic ovary syndrome or polycystic ovarian syndrome or disease, where multiple follicles begin the race. If you recollect, I said every month only one egg grows. But in PCOS, many eggs grow, about 8 to 10 eggs grow every month, but none of them reach the size where they can ovulate. And so actually, these 8 to 10 eggs get wasted every month. So, of course, the treatment begins with making the patient ovulate correctly. And for this, we have many drugs available to us. We also have insulin sensitizers. And I mentioned this particularly because many of the younger women will be on metformin or rosiglitazone. And you may say, "Arey, don't take this. This is for diabetes. This is for hypercholesterol, etc." But these do help in PCOS. And of course, then IVF does become a very good option. I'm not going to go in the details of clomiphene, but this is a drug which is the simplest drug, which is an oral tablet for 5 days. And it does help to trigger the ovulation process. Other injections are from the hormones which are acting on the ovary, and they stimulate the ovary to develop the eggs or the follicles. The only danger with this is the possibility of multiple births. In fact, you should think the other way, that when you see so many pairs of twins today, almost 80% of them will be because they have received some ovulation induction drug. Of course, for the tubal anomalies or the block, the best is in vitro fertilization or IVF. In the past, we used to try to open up the block tubes and do a tubal reversal, but that is not as successful as IVF. Endometriosis is also a real problem today because many young women do not have children at the young age, and they wait till their mid or late 30s. And in endometriosis, basically, there is unopposed action of estrogen rather than progesterone, which breaks the cycle every time a woman gets pregnant. So let's look at ART, and this is assisted reproductive technology. And it began way back in the 80s with the birth of the first IVF baby, Louisa Brown, in England, followed by Harsha in India, when, in fact, at KEM Hospital, where I was an intern in 1982. So IVF is the first thing with transfer of embryo, and I'm going to explain each of these terms. Then the next is gamete intrafallopian transfer and zygote intrafallopian transfer, which are not really done anymore. The next most important thing is cryopreservation. And in fact, cryopreservation has saved many young women, either who don't want to get pregnant or who can't get pregnant because of cancer. And then finally, the intracytoplasmic sperm injection. And you can imagine that these are microscopic particles which are injected directly into the egg. So I'm sorry for the color of this slide, but the egg and the sperm are received from the couple or from a donor. One may be a donor or both may be donors. And basically, in vitro means out of the body. So they are combined in a petri dish or a small test tube. And then they are given a good growth medium, which helps them grow. And they are preserved in a good incubated surroundings for about 2 to 3 days. And fertilization occurs in the Petri dish. Once it starts dividing, the one cell becomes 2 cells, 2 cells becomes 4 cells, 4 cells becomes 8 cells. That's the time the embryo is then transferred back into the woman with a fine catheter. So basically, for IVF, most women are given tablets so that they produce many more eggs than just one. So typically we would, in an IVF cycle, pick up 5 to 8 eggs. Then the eggs are sorted and studied. When they are picked up through the vagina using an ultrasound, the good quality eggs are then mixed with the sperm, and then they are fertilized and kept. Nowadays, we do cryopreservation for all egg and sperm combinations. And these are GIFT and ZIFT, which I don't think you require to know. But the sperm or the embryo means the fertilized egg plus sperm, are preserved by freezing, and then they are transferred back in the subsequent cycles. And this has been found to be giving a better result in the IVF. Here you can see that the cells are at the 3 and 4, the 4-stage cells, and these are perfect to freeze. They are frozen at -192 in a nitrogen and oxygen environment. This picture shows intracytoplasmic sperm injection. And as you can see again, the egg is extremely large. This is the egg. It's a magnified view. And a single sperm is injected directly into the egg to increase the chance of fertilization. So ICSI is a very good method when the male has a problem. So either, even when we say he has azoospermia, he may be producing just 3 or 4 sperm instead of 20 to 40 or 60 million sperm. Even in those cases, a single good sperm can be taken and ICSI can be done. So now we come to the last part, and that is fertility preservation. So these are either in women who have cancer or in women who want to do what we call as social egg freezing. So here, there is a young girl who is unmarried. She requires to freeze her eggs if she feels that she wants to delay pregnancy. If she has a cancer, she has about 14 to 20 days in which she can be stimulated, get the good eggs and freeze them, then undergo the cancer treatment. And then whenever she is ready, she can get the eggs to be fertilized in the lab and put back into her. Suppose it's a married woman, then she can ideally freeze the embryo, that is the product of the egg plus sperm. And then whenever she wants, it can be transferred back into her. Suppose this is a woman who does not have a uterus. For whatever reason, she can actually take eggs from a donor and also freeze them and use them. If she has a uterus, but no ovaries, for example, she had ovarian cancer, then she definitely needs ovum donation, but she can use her own uterus. And suppose the patient has cancer, there are even cases where the surgical procedure is done to keep the ovary away from the cancer and re-implant it back, but this is still experimental. So basically, this baby was born through IVF, and you can see the steps. And though I'm making it sound extremely simple, there is a lot of psychological emotional, financial, legal, and moral dilemmas with IVF. Certain patients will say, I'm doing everything except IVF. Certain patients will say, I want to get pregnant no matter what. Certain patients may not have good ovaries or eggs, and they may take an ovum or an egg from a donor, but their husband's sperm, and so on. So this is where same-sex couples can be benefited with artificial reproductive techniques. So if there is a lesbian couple, two women, they can use their own eggs and take a donor sperm. On the other hand, if there are two men, they can use their sperm with a donor egg or a surrogate, and pregnancy in this way is possible for these couples. So I'm going to end here because I'm sure there will be some questions. I want to end by saying the sky is the limit. You can have 5 or 6 different combinations between male and female, but the balance always has to be between what is acceptable, morally correct, and legally binding. So in fact, in India, we do have many new laws where some of these are restricted to perform and some can only be performed in certain centers. So I hope that what I have spoken up till now has helped you to get a clearer understanding of the topic. Thank you. I'm going to stop this share now and we can go with the questions.
Thank you, Dr. Anahita, for giving an extensive information on newer hopes for conception.
Thank you.
Now I want to ask the question, because your advice we wanted was on delayed conception and the care the young mothers, young newlyweds have to take who desire pregnancy. So I'll give you an example that, now there are delayed marriages. So naturally the children are also born later. So we in our times, we used to say that, abnormalities are more common. But what is the truth? Whether abnormalities are more common, whether they need to, what type of investigations they need to do, and what would you advise them? Is it
I will explain. So basically, earlier we thought that the best time for women to get pregnant was in their 20s, because at that point, the chances of complications for the mother or the baby were really much lower than in the 30s or the 40s. Currently, I would say that up to 35, women are really doing well in terms of pregnancy. But when couples do come to us, there are 2 tests that we like to do to ensure that they have a good fertility potential. So one test, they're both hormone tests, and these are the tests that we do offer them if they are deciding to wait. So that if those tests are not good, then we can tell them that you need to move quickly or you won't get pregnant. If the test is good, we can say you can wait for a year or 2. That's in terms of them getting pregnant. Suppose we have either a couple or an unmarried girl who comes at 25 and she says, I have no plan to get married till I am 30 or 35, but I want to freeze my eggs. Then we in fact encourage her to do the tests and freeze her eggs by the time she's around 28 to 30. The egg freezing is possible, and the egg alone can be thawed even after 3 to 5 years and used with her partner at that time. However, even at that time, she should first attempt normal pregnancy before opting for IVF. The problem today is that the younger generation does not have the patience. So the moment you tell them it will take you 6 months to a year to get pregnant, she says, but doctor, I don't have that time. I don't want to think about it. I want to do IVF and get pregnant next month. You know, so we have to kind of cater to all the needs. Now coming to your question about anomalies or malformations or problems with the baby, we now have many tests which we do or we offer our patients as a routine. So the earliest that we can pick up any abnormality in the baby is at 12 weeks. And that's really early because in the past we could pick it up at 18 to 20 weeks. Now we can do a sonography as well as a dual marker blood test to predict the risk of whether the baby will have Down syndrome. And that's the main one that many people are worried about. So Down syndrome or some other syndromes like Edwards syndrome, Patau syndrome, and others. And this is age related. So if we see at 35, the age risk is 1 in 300. This goes up to 1 in 250. And at 40 years, the risk is 1 in 150 to 200. So 1 in 150 is a very real risk. So at this point, if the risk is high, then we always counsel the patient to undergo one more test. And this is a very fascinating test, which is called NIPT. That is a non-invasive prenatal test, or an NIPS, non-invasive prenatal screening. Now in this, what is done is from the mother's blood, the baby's cells are extracted. And the baby's cells are extracted and the baby's actual cells are studied to see the baby's DNA. And that will actually imply whether the baby is normal or abnormal. Because on sonography or on a blood test of the mother, which is not the NIPS, you can only presume and say that it's likely that you will have an abnormal child. But with the NIPS, it's a much more accurate test, and you can actually predict 99.99% whether it's going to be normal or abnormal.
Thank
And
you,
then,
Dr.
of course,
Anahita.
One moment, the final test is you put in a needle and pull out the amniotic fluid and culture that as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that answer. We have a lot of questions here, but
Yes.
since, the second topic is very important, and our association president Preeti ji is waiting for that. So, let us go to the to the second session, and then we will ask questions. And friends, if we are not able to give time for question answers, we will write to each one of you the answers to your questions.
Can I take a moment to thank the...
No, you have not finished your second session.
All right,
So
all
Meeta
right,
will wait for you.
all right. She has to.
Yeah,
Fine. So can I share my slides now?
yeah, yeah.
Is this
Right.
clear? Is it visible?
Yes, it is very much visible. Friends, we are shifting to cancer, cervical cancer vaccine subject.
Give me one moment, please. So I hope I'm not boring you, but now the switch is completely to another topic. And this is something I also really am passionate about, and that is reproductive health and preventive aspects, as we know. We deal with adolescent patients, preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, older women. And the real challenge for us is when we talk about vaccination. So vaccines are known to be only second to clean drinking water in terms of saving lives. And there are numerous vaccines which can be recommended all through a woman's adult life. And today we are going to focus on the HPV vaccine. So this is something I came across just a couple of years ago. The speed at which COVID-19 vaccines ruptured the link between infections and death has put a renewed focus on the miracle and science of inoculation. If only we had a vaccine for cancer too, people said. But wait, we do. Not only do we have a vaccine against cancer, we have a vaccine against pre-cancer. And for the last 10 or 12 years, we've been talking about this to no avail. So adolescent vaccination is the need of the hour. And we have to take examples from other countries so that we can also scale up our adolescent vaccination. So I'm going to talk about HPV and the disease burden and the vaccines. Look at what the global strategy is. Look at a couple of counseling strategies to overcome barriers, and look at all the recommendations. Of course, what you can do is for us to discuss at the end. So let's start with HPV and cervical cancer. And to understand the global impact, understand that cervical cancer is the 4th leading female cancer which causes death. And it is the most common female cancer between the women 15 to 44 years of age. And more than 90% of these are due to persistent HPV infection. India actually contributes 1/5 of the global burden of cervical cancers. That means 1 in 5 women who die will be from India. In fact, 1 in 4 who die will be Indian. There are almost 212 deaths per day, 9 deaths per hour, 1 death every 7 minutes. So by the time I finish speaking, almost 3 women would have died. So what is this HPV? It's basically a virus, and there are more than 150 types which have been identified, and 40 types target the anogenital area. That means the front as well as the back of women as well as men. And 14 of these are highly oncogenic. That means they can cause cancer. It's a very common infection, and it is a necessary cause of cervical cancer. Now, if we look at cervical cancer, obviously we have to look at 25 to 30 years, which it takes for pre-cancer to become cervical cancer. And if we begin here, in the first 4 to 5 years, there is an initial HPV infection, and almost 80% of women get an HPV infection, but not all of them move to a persistent infection. Most of them move to the cleared infection. If they have a persistent infection, they move to what is called as CIN1, that is cervical intraepithelial neoplasia 1, which then progresses to stage 2, which progresses to stage 3, and then after about 15 to 20 years, it progresses to cancer. So what is the most important is that the reason that this vaccine has come is it can demonstrate that it can prevent SIN2 and SIN3 and therefore cancer. So the persistence of the infection is necessary, and women less than 30 do get infections with HPV, and these should not be tested because otherwise patients get very worried that they have HPV infection. Of the oncogenic or the cancer types, 16 and 18 are the most strong for cancer, and almost 80% of cancers in India were originally thought to be because of 16 and 18. The high risk types are 16, 18, 31, 33, 45, 52, etc. And of course, as I said, 16 and 18 are the most cancerous. In boys, genital warts are caused by 6 and 11. That is a low risk type, but they are also important. And this all for 16, 18, 6 and 11 are the important components of the vaccine. So if you look at the cancer prevention strategies, before vaccination, we only had cervical cancer screening. And in that screening, it was either pap smear or HPV DNA or liquid-based cytology. And this is a secondary prevention. You see something and you prevent the further advance. But vaccination forms the primary prevention. And this is the reason why vaccination and cervical cancer screening should go hand in hand. Not just that if you vaccinate all women, there won't be cancer. You have to do the primary as well as the secondary prevention. And this is an acronym SAVE, SAVE. You screen, you make them aware, you vaccinate, and you educate. So the WHO's global strategy to prevent cervical cancer is, first of all, that in 2018, they took a very strong stand that 1 woman dies of cervical cancer every 2 minutes. And this is a tragedy. And they have come up with a vision for 2030, which is 90, 70, 90, which means that they want 90% of girls to be fully vaccinated by the age of 15, 70% of women by the age of 35 to be screened, and 90% of women to be diagnosed and treated correctly. So if we have to study what are the real world benefits of HPV vaccination, basically Australia is the best example for us because they have been vaccinating both boys and girls for over 10 years now. And they have actually found a massive reduction in all types of HPV related illnesses, including genital warts and including SIN1, SIN2, and of course, cervical cancer. We in India now also have a 9-valent vaccine, and 98% of the oncogenic types are covered by this vaccine. Apart from cervical cancer, even vulvar cancer, vaginal cancer, as well as anal cancer can be prevented with this vaccine. So let me just tell you briefly that in the past, when the HPV vaccine was introduced, the mistake that we made was we said it should be given to women who are not sexually active, because once they get sexually active, they will be, having HPV in their systems. So many mothers were reluctant to give the vaccine to their young daughters, thinking that, oh, if I give the vaccine, I'll make my daughter sexually promiscuous or something like that. So now the strategy has to be to increase awareness of HPV disease in the community, to educate first the doctors and then the parents and all of you. And the vaccination strategy does not link the efficacy of the vaccine with sexual function. Of course, there are many barriers. Is it licensed for use? Is it efficacious? Is it safe? And we know that it is extremely efficacious and safe. And earlier we began with 3 doses, but we've now come down to 2 doses. And the cost also is good because we now have an Indian vaccine. So what are the recommendations? Globally, there are 3 vaccines, but the bivalent, that means only 2 HPV 16 and 18 is not available at present. There is a Chinese vaccine, but we don't really want to use that. The world leader is the quadrivalent Gardasil vaccine, which protects against 16, 18 and 6 and 11 as well. There is also a Gardasil nonavalent or 9-valent vaccine, which protects against 31, 33, 45, 52, and also the 16, 18, 6, and 11. But the Gardasil 9 costs 11,000 rupees per dose, and 2 or 3 doses are recommended. The Gardasil 4 costs 3,500 rupees a dose, and again 2 or 3 doses are required. And so the Serum Institute's vaccine, which is an indigenous vaccine, is really promising because you get 2 doses each for 1,000. So it's a pack of 2, which costs 2,000 rupees. And this is going to be the game changer. So WHO, from 3 doses when the vaccine was introduced, has come down to 2 doses if it is given less than 15 years of age. That means a 0 dose and 6 months later. And this will obviously decrease the cost, increase the vaccine coverage, and improve the cervical vaccine protection. Sorry. If the second dose is given as late as even 12 months, it's fine. And both the vaccines have shown excellent efficacy against SIN3, that is 100% efficacy. And the quadrivalent HPV has also shown 100% efficacy against genital warts as well as vulvar lesions. So just before I move on to the Serum Institute vaccine, I just want to introduce this concept of gender-neutral vaccination. And this, of course, is for the 9-valent vaccine. That in India, we have a lot of stigma because the woman is to blame for everything. The woman is the vessel who keeps this HPV virus, and she passes on the virus to the male partner. And she is responsible and she suffers. So with the gender neutral vaccination, they have tried to move the focus away from cervical cancer because 4.5% of all cancers are caused by HPV. So they are now trying to say even orogenital cancers, even anal cancers, even warts are caused by the HPV. So you should vaccinate males as well as females. And in fact, the HPV infection is more prevalent in males. The women get the infection early, but they pass on the infection or they clear the infection, whereas males harbor the infection for longer. HPV transmission from females to males is higher than from males to females. So both of them need protection. And HPV prevalence in males, that means the number of males in the community who have the HPV infection at any time is almost 26 to 27%. So it's necessary to also vaccinate the males. And basically the gender neutral vaccination will reduce the burden from the females and help to make sort of foster equality among all the vaccinated individuals. So I'm not going to talk about gender neutral vaccination too much, but basically the Gardasil 9 has been licensed all over the world, and the Gardasil 9 in the world is applicable to males as well as females, 2 doses if they are less than 15 years, and from 15 to 45, 3 doses. However, in India, we are still a little behind, and only 9 to 26, the girls can receive 3 doses. Boys and girls less than 15 should receive also 3 doses. There is no change as yet in the Gardasil 9. Keep in mind that this is an extremely expensive vaccine, and so the future is going to be either a single dose, which is less costly, easier to administer, and it reduces the challenges linked to calling patients back for the second dose. And also the SII, the Serum Institute of India vaccine, which actually came in on 1st September 2022, has overcome a lot of challenges. There was a delay in the launch of this vaccine because of COVID and COVID vaccination, but still this vaccine at the price at which it is available is a game changer. So Servavac is the name of the new vaccine. It's identical to Gardasil 4. It protects against the cancer and what using 6 and 11 HPV types. And it is available at less than 1/5 the cost of the Gardasil 4. So if you are looking as an organization to start promoting the vaccine, you need to start talking with organizations which are propagating the vaccine, like the Indian Association of Pediatrics and the Obstetric and Gynec Federation of India, of whom we are a part. And you should be able to procure these vaccines at less than even this cost, which I'm telling you, and start targeting schoolgirls and young adolescents. So this is actually the role of organizations such as yours. FOGSI, which is the Federation of Obstetric and Gynec Societies in India, has actually urged the government to include HPV vaccination in the universal program of immunization, because children are vaccinated for diseases which are vaccine preventable. For example, tuberculosis, polio, measles, mumps, rubella, that part is going well. It's when they reach adolescence that they get forgotten. And only when they become pregnant again that they go to doctors. So if you can actually accelerate this program, you will be doing a great service to all the adolescents in India. This has been actually doing the rounds since last year, where even the director of the Central Board of Secondary Education has circulated that everyone in schools should be getting together, getting parents and teachers together, working to give these vaccines to all girls.
Dr. Anahita,
Yes.
this part, our association president herself is an educationist, and we will certainly approach you to understand how we can take up this thing. But now, if we can have we are
This is my last slide.
Nita is waiting. Oh, okay, fine.
This is my last slide.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so basically, I just want to share a quotation of the FIGO, that is an international president of obstetrics and gynec, who said, women are not dying of diseases we cannot treat. They are dying because societies have yet to make the decision that their lives are worth saving.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to end here and let you go to the next person.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anahita. Friends, we have a surprise for the speaker as well as you. Dr. Anahita is on Zoom at Kem's Corner. We have our IPDC Meeta with IPP of Queen's Necklace Tiara Jigna waiting outside to felicitate her. Doctor, please allow our team to enter and thank you on behalf of all the Innerville members in Mumbai and India. We will treasure the wisdom imparted by you to all.
So I'm really touched by this kind gesture. Please come forward. The flowers are bigger than me.
Yes, because you, whatever you do, that's much, very valuable. Thank you
so
very much. Thank you very
One
much from
moment,
this
just
table
move the
to
flowers
class.
so that
Yes,
we can just
join
take a
the
photograph on the screen.
Come, Jigna.
Can you see Jigna
Of
coming?
course.
Yeah.
We can, yes, now we can see you, see Jigna also. All the three of you are seen clearly.
Thank you
you,
so
thank-
very much.
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Thank you, Anahita.
Yeah.
Friends, a bigger surprise for Dr. Anahita and all participants. Leaders in Innerville will focus on this announcement and use the knowledge attained to enforce the vision of our association president. Preeti ji, request you to
Thank
give
you.
your observations and your announcement, please.
Thank you so much, our past association president, Dr. Pallavi Shah, the webinar chair, our dignified personality, our past association president, and definitely the chair of today's event, whose thought and initiative has taken the shape today, the Centennial District Chairman Pallavi Choksi as the host of today's webinar, all association executives present, district executives of the host District 314, eminent and powerfully influencing our keynote speaker, Dr. Anahita Chauhan, the President, OGS Mumbai, all the district chairmen from the various districts as my trailblazers, district executive team members from the other districts, past international Innerville presidents, past association president, past district chairman, club leaders, and all enthusiastic and trailblazing members of our centenary-old organization. Friends, we are all aware of some facts, and today we learned few. With all the inputs given by our eminent speaker of the day as strong capsule of knowledge, and all the efforts put in by the host district, and all district team and leaders of District 314, along with the highly influential efforts of our PAP Dr. Pallavi Shah, I am grateful and highly thankful to District 314, but would surely like to acknowledge our speaker, our distinguished gynecologist, who has not only excelled in their medical practice, but has also shown us the breadth of their wisdom by shedding light on the intricacies of the end of life journey. This is a subject that, while uncomfortable for many, is an inevitable part of the human experience. Our speaker's ability to address this topic with grace, compassion, and expertise is truly commendable. I just wish that if it would have been a physical meeting, we would have given a loud applause for the Dr. Anahita. My dear sisters, today, I want to talk to you about powerful choice that can protect your health and change your future. Getting vaccinated against HPV, the human papilloma virus, it is natural to have caution and concerns about the vaccines. But I want to share with you why this one is in particular so important, that how it can empower you to take control of your health. When I talk of your health, means your girls at home and you yourself as women, as the caretaker of the whole family. HPV is a common virus that can lead to serious health issues, including cervical cancer. But here's the good news: with the HPV vaccine, you have the power to prevent it. Imagine a world where cervical cancer is virtually eliminated where you don't have to worry about this disease affecting you and your loved one. That's the world we can create together. By getting vaccinated, you are making a practice, a proactive choice to protect yourself against a virus that can cause harmless later in life. This decision is not about today. It's about securing a healthier and brighter future. Friends, as it is said that knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family. We, being the centenary-old scouts of a beloved organization, should all get well equipped ourselves with the knowledge. Although in a world where knowledge is power, our speaker has already empowered us with the valuable insights that can help us navigate this complex and often challenging aspects. Let's look at this video and establish ourselves as the trailblazers of this change to protect the future of our young girls. Let's look at the video, please.
Did you know that cervical cancer is the second most commonest cancer in the women after breast cancer? In India alone, more than 1 lakh new cases of cervical cancers are diagnosed. More than 70,000 women lose their lives every year. We now know the cause of these cancer. It is the only preventable cancer. It happens cause of a virus which is known as HPV, that is human papilloma virus. It is one of the very common STDs. HPV vaccination can prevent you against cancer. What are the types of HPV vaccines available? Currently, there are 3 types of vaccines available. Number 1, Cervarix, that is the bivalent vaccine. It works against the 2 HPVs. Second is Gardasil 4. It works against 4 types of HPVs. The third is the Gardasil 9. It protects you against the 9 types of HPVs. So what is the best vaccine for me? So that can be decided by the doctor. What is the best vaccine for you based on your history and the availability of a particular vaccine in your area? Who should get the HPV vaccine? And what's the right age for the HPV vaccine? 9 to 26 years is the best time for HPV vaccination. 27 to 45 years is what is known as catch-up vaccination. More than 45 years, HPV vaccine is not recommended because by then the HPV exposure in all probability would have occurred. What is the dosage schedule of HPV vaccine? 9 to 14 years, only 2 doses are required. 0 to 6 months, 15 to 26 years, 3 doses are required. 0, 2 and 6 months. 27 to 45 years, however, not recommended, but you can take the vaccine after recommendation by your doctor. 3 doses are required, 0, 2 and 6 months. Immunocompromised patients of all ages like HIV positive, 3 doses are required, 0, 2 and 6 months. How is the vaccine given? This vaccine is given intramuscularly, either in the upper part of the arm or in the front part of the thigh. Who should not take the HPV vaccine? Someone who is pregnant or who is suspecting to be pregnant. Someone who is severely or moderately ill. Someone who has history of allergic reactions, especially to latex and yeast. Or someone who has had a severe allergic reaction to the earlier HPV dose. Will the HPV vaccine work for me if I am already sexually active? Yes. Even if you have been exposed to some strains of HPV earlier, this vaccine might protect you against many other HPV strains. Do I need a Pap test or HPV test before taking the vaccine? No, there is no need. Do I still need a vaccine if I get my regular Pap test done? Yes, for sure. Pap test and vaccinations do not replace each other. In fact, they are complementary to each other. Together, they can offer almost 100% protection against cervical cancer. So both must be done every 3 yearly Pap smear plus complete HPV vaccination. For the first time ever, can we eliminate a cancer? Together we can end cervical cancer. Join us a mission of one member, one vaccine all over India. Together we can create a cervical cancer-free future. Let's all pledge to make the campaign happen all over India successfully by joining hands, each district together all over India as one mission, one member, one vaccine as a must.
Pledge to spread awareness on cervical cancer vaccination and promote its 100% implementation. One member, one vaccine. Cervical cancer is malignant tumor of the cervix, which is lower part of the uterus.
I pledge to eradicate cervical cancer by motivating people to go for vaccination.
I take pledge to eradicate cervical cancer by vaccinating one girl each one. It would be our vision for mission, advocating the administration of HPV.
Cancer is a dangerous but curable disease, especially breast and cervical cancer. Prevention is always better than cure. Pledge for spreading its awareness and also provide vaccination for curing the same.
I pledge for cervical cancer awareness and vaccination.
Take here pledge to organize maximum cervical cancer screening camps and cervical cancer vaccine awareness programs.
I pledge to eradicate cervical cancer from my town.
इससे हम बेटियों का भविष्य हम सुरक्षित कर सकते हैं और जो 18 वर्ष से अधिक लड़कियां हैं हमें प्रेरित करना होगा.
Cervical cancer can be prevented. Get screened and protect yourself.
I pledge to support the vaccination drive for cancer.
I pledge to support cervical cancer vaccination drive.
Cervical cancer is most preventable. Get vaccinated. Her problem is my problem.
Cervical cancer is most preventable. Get vaccinated. Her fight is my fight.
I pledge to eliminate the cervical cancer by motivating my members to give maximum vaccinations in their respective areas.
I pledge to support cervical vaccination for the wellness of the girl child.
I pledge to support cervical cancer vaccination. Let's support vaccination, fight cervical cancer and save lives.
I take the pledge to eradicate cervical cancer by advocating the administration of HPV.
I am taking place to eliminate cervical cancer by arranging seminar and vaccination camp.
I pledge for myself and all the women of the world I care for cervical cancer vaccination.
I request our PAS Association President Dr. Pallavi Shah to release our national campaign, The Drive which will be carried out all over India, that is one member, one vaccine as a must to end the cervical cancer all over India.
Thank you, Preeti ji. Thank you, Preeti ji, for the honor you have bestowed on me.
My pleasure, Pallavi ji. I would like
you
to.
were the right person to do it, you know. But anyway, I want to tell everyone that, friends, I had given a thought to cervical cancer vaccine in 2010 as IIW president. But the cost of the vaccine did not allow us to take it up on a big scale. In the subsequent years, many leaders worked to create awareness on cervical cancer and its vaccine. Today, Association President Preeti, known for her dynamism, has done one more goal with Drive for Vaccine against cervical cancer. I feel very fortunate that Association President Preeti has chosen me to inaugurate the drive. My dream is fulfilled. Thank you, Preeti ji.
Thank you so much for your motivating words, Pallavi ji. I would like to end with few words more. I would like to add few words more. To win in the end, we need to strive with all our might now. Face every circumstances with courage. That is the spirit. I am grateful to all 27 district chairmen for joining hands. Let us all pledge to encourage young girls to take this step for themselves and for their loved ones and for a brighter and healthier future. Together, we can create a world where cervical cancer is a thing of past, where young girls grow up to be strong, healthy, and empowered women. The choice to get vaccinated is a powerful one, and it's in our hands. Let's stand together and make the choice of a healthier tomorrow. I'm so glad, friends, that this most significant task of the year, initiating this national drive of one member, one vaccine all over India, is beginning today with the inspiration and motivation of our Honorable Past Association President, Dr. Pallavi Shah. Pallavi ji, your words, your presence, and your initiative today with this webinar means a lot. And I think we all present here, all the members, all the designated members of the inner wheel who have got the responsibility, who shoulder this responsibility together to take this drive on. Definitely there'll be no looking back, and we are going to head towards the road of progress, and we are going to make our inner wheel organization proud with our movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Preeti ji. Now, Preeti ji, should we take up question answers, or we call it a day and we will answer the question answers personally to those who have asked?
As the time allows, Pallavi ji, if it's possible to take up the question, as many you can, if the time allows. Otherwise, you can take it up.
I feel we end on this high note of announcing this drive for cervical cancer vaccine.
Right.
And I request Prerna Raichura to give vote of thanks, please.
Yeah. Good evening. It's my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks for a very valuable webinar on a unique topic by renowned Dr. Anahita Chauhan, President of the Mumbai chapter of Obstetric and Gynec Society. On behalf of the Association of Inner Wheel Clubs in India and the host Inner Wheel District 314, we express our gratitude and appreciation to our Association President, Preeti Bugnani. Preeti ji's passion and vision for promoting and driving the need for cervical cancer vaccine has ignited a spark in us today. And we take a pledge to work relentlessly towards this cause. Thank you, Preeti ji. Our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Anaita Chauhan, for sparing her valuable time and delivering an enlightening talk on trending changes in approach to fertility and the shift of vision in preventive reproductive health. Your insights have been valuable and enrich us in the latest in this field. We acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of Centenary District 314 Chairman Pallavi Choksi for graciously hosting this wonderful seminar. Deepest gratitude to Project Chairman, International Innerville Past President, Dr. Pallavi Shah. Your leadership serves as an inspiring example to each one of us. We express our sincere gratitude to our association executive members, Association Vice President Sunita Jain, Association Secretary Vinutha Harish, Association Treasurer Sashi Shukla, National Editor Sonal Bansal for their gracious presence. Thank you, District Executive members of Innerville District 314 for their unstinted support, all the co-district chairmen and their district committees, in IIW past presidents, past association president, past district chairman from all the districts, and presidents and Innerville members and guests from across India. Your presence here today reflects your belief in self-help and your commitment to helping others in their fight against cervical cancer. Lastly, a special thank you to Mr. Narendra Rao and Vansh of Kaizen Infotech for their invaluable technical support, which has ensured a smooth execution of this event. This event is a significant milestone and a giant leap towards creating a healthier and a more informed society. We look forward to continuing our efforts towards cervical cancer prevention and reproductive health with renewed vigor and commitment. Thank you all for being a part of this informative and important webinar. Thank you.
Let us all stand for national anthem, please.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, Prerna, and thank you, all of you. Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
Thank you,
just a
Pallavi.
moment. Just a moment.
Pallavi ji.
Just a moment, Pallavi ji.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thank the efforts of the dedicated coordinators, Kinikol, Hardeep Manku,